Sarge. How you guys doing? So back to our Tuesday live stream. See if I can find a good spot here. Give people here a few minutes to come in. I am back over at the Ashley River. Some of you guys have seen this before. Let's see if we can mess around with this a little bit. Bear with me. All right. When people pop in, let me know how my audio. We'll check to see how my audio is looking. So back over here at the Ashley River. This is the highest that I've seen it at this point. In fact, let me see if you can see over my shoulder here. I'm gonna try to get the. Where is it? It's hard to do this backwards. Should be. The camera's not really picking it up. There's a sign over there that is. Yeah, right over my right shoulder. You can just barely see it in the camera there. That's the high water warning, and it's like basically up to the sign. So this is the highest that I've seen it. But of course, I've never come out here after a hurricane or whatever. Maybe we'll do that in the fall when we get some hurricanes going. But this is a YouTube channel, Prepping with Sarge. I do videos on preparedness, wilderness survival, financial preparedness, homesteading, gardening for self-sufficiency. Basically, anything you could think about that's going to increase your self-sufficiency and your general preparedness. And today, I got a fun video for you all today. We're going to give people a little bit of a chance to get in here. But we're going to talk about what it feels like to get hit in the liver in martial arts. It's not fun. If you guys see it, honestly, I've never seen the water up this high over here. So if anybody's watching this and you type in preparedness, no worries, no worries. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, so we'll just give people a little bit of chance to get in here. But while I'm waiting, just kind of talk a little bit about my martial arts training and experience. So I did some, as a youth, I did some youth boxing. Did some Shaolin Kempo as a youth. Then as an adult, I got my black belt in Tracy Kempo. And I got a blue belt in Shaolin Kempo before, and at that point I had a health issue which really kind of sidelined me and ended my martial arts career. And in fact, some of you guys know that was actually my initial plan was to do self-defense channel and do street defense and that kind of stuff. So life changes, you have to adapt, you have to overcome, and after my health issue, I tried to go back to it just to see. I had clearance from my doctor to try it again, and my recovery time had basically tripled. So in other words, what I mean by that is, did a class, and then it would take me 4 days, sometimes 5 days, just to recover. And the big kicker for me was I was in a sparring match, and I got punched in the stomach where I had my surgery, and basically, hang on one second, guys.
I'm going to let you speak. I'm going to let you speak. It's just on my mind.
All right. We'll just let that guy pass. So I got punched in the stomach where my surgery was, and I dropped. It was a third-degree black belt that punched me. I dropped really quick, and I knew that was probably it for my martial arts career. So what I would tell people, right, is if you are in any kind of way into preparedness and that kind of thing, you definitely should do this as part of your training. Self-defense is part of preparedness, absolutely. You should do, in my opinion, you should do training in both a stand-up fighting style and ground style, right? So I came into it already with a spinal injury, so I never got to train in any ground styles. But if I did, I would have done, jiu-jitsu or wrestling. Either one of those is good. You really, if you don't have the kind of injuries that I've had, you should train in both, right? Because a lot of fights end up on the ground. For stand-up style, so jiu-jitsu or wrestling for ground style is what I would recommend. For stand-up styles, I think you're good with boxing or Muay Thai and Muay Thai. Sorry, I always pronounce it wrong. Muay Thai, Krav Maga. I trained in Kempos. Any of those are fine, and it just kind of depends on if you're wanting to do competitive fighting, then probably Muay Thai. Muay Thai. Help me out, guys. I'm having a hard time pronouncing it. And I didn't train in that style, although my wife did, and she could kick. She could kick like a mule. In fact, we used to train a little bit together, and I'd be like, okay, I need to work out this move because I'm going to teach it to somebody else. And I'd say, you know, just kind of work with me, and her defenses would kick in. A lot of times she could take me down pretty quick. You know, when you train in martial arts, one of the things that will happen is you're going to have to train with people who are different sizes than you, which is why, you know, a lot of people who've never done it, they'll say, well, why would the men be training with the women? Well, the women know how to fight, need to know how to fight a man, and that's the best way to do it, right? So people would laugh and say, well, you know, oh, Sarge is fighting a girl, whatever. Like, yeah, okay, why don't you come to class and get kicked around by one of these women and see what it's like. Just keep running your mouth and see what happens, right? As they say, you know what, and find out. There's many, many times when I walked home from my classes, or I came out of my classes with the imprint of a foot somewhere on my body. So they learn how to fight really darn fast. And there's plenty that are bigger than me and stronger than me. So don't sleep on that. Don't think that gender really matters. In fact, with martial arts, one of the things that you quickly find out is that skill and technique can easily overcome speed and strength, right? So before we get into what a liver shot feels like, you know, so there are some advantages that a person can bring to this, like size can be helpful. I've had to get into many matches with somebody who was, you know, several inches taller than me. Believe me, size matters, strength matters, speed matters, flexibility matters to some extent, endurance and heart matter too, right? So like there's all these different traits that each fighter brings into it, and it's not always that the bigger person wins, and you find that out pretty quickly when you start. Alabama Farm Life, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. You find that out pretty quickly when you start getting into matches with people. So, oh boy, what does a liver shot feel like? Well, we're 7 minutes in. I'm just going to go ahead and start talking about it, and hopefully people get to see this later on. I know I started my stream a little bit early today. I have to kind of work around what's going on at work sometimes. So usually I try to start at 12:15, but this time I started a little bit early. Austrian Stacker, good to see you, my friend. All right, so when you think about, like, if you wanted to knock somebody out, okay, there's several different ways that you could do this. The most common way is like a chin shot, right? So you hit the chin, and basically you're trying to drive it with force in a direction that like that or like that. And what happens is, if you can picture what the brain looks like inside the skull, what's causing the knockout is the brain is like rattling inside the skull, and that's what's causing your knockout. So that's the number one spot, right, if you were gonna try to knock somebody out. Of course, you can do knockouts on certain parts of the neck too. Those of you who are guys, you know we can get knocked out by a groin shot. Back of the head, like right at that spot, back there, right behind the ears, is the center for balance in the brain, and that you get hit there. The very back of the head back there, you can actually kill somebody with that. That's a very dangerous spot. A lot of people talk about the temple, and yeah, you can knock somebody out with a temple shot, but it's a lot harder than some of those other spots. But the one that a lot of people don't realize is the liver shot, right? The liver, I love targeting the liver in martial arts. It's a spot that many people in their fight keep unprotected. So I'm going to show you where that is in the body. So this is my right side. I don't know if it's inverse for you as you're watching this, but on the right side, below the breast, right there, okay? Right there. And the way that you target that, if you want to attack it, is you're coming in and up, right? So in and up. And if you get it just right, you absolutely can knock somebody out with a liver shot. And if you don't believe me, go, after we're done with our live stream here, just go search on YouTube, liver shot knockout, and there's tons and tons of videos of it. So how do you target that? Well, obviously you can, if I fight predominantly right-handed, you should train both sides, and being able to switch your stance in a fight is a really good thing. You can throw your opponents off that way, and also gives your one side a rest, so you can kind of recover it a little bit. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. Now you can roundhouse kick from your left side, from your left leg into their liver shot, and especially if it's a southpaw, if it's a left-handed fighter. I gotta think about this for a second. Yeah, you can roundhouse kick into that. And that was how I got hit, and I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. But it's even easier to, with your left hand, especially if you're a right-handed fighter, to basically, you're gonna target and come up like that, right? So a lot of people in a fight, they're guarding up on here, they're guarding their face, which is a smart move. You know, your chin and your neck and protecting all that area, right? So they're guarding. But that's gonna leave open that liver shot, which again, is right here, right? So you might set that up with some jabs, and then basically you can come up with an uppercut or a left hook to the body, right? I know that's hard to see on that. So like a left hook to the body or an uppercut like that, right? And if you do that with driving force up and in, like I said, basically what happens is your liver is what processes a lot of the toxins in your body, and it does a very good job of that unless your lifestyle has done damage to your liver, in which case you need a different video. Now, if you guys see an alligator coming up behind me, please give me a warning, like shout it out in caps or something like that, because again, this is the highest that I've ever seen this water over here. So what happens when that gets hit with that kind of force? Well, the toxins in your liver are suddenly forced back into the bloodstream, right? So there's often a little bit of a delay when that happens. So the toxins get forced back. Good morning, Silver Sea Captains, good to see you. So the toxins are forced back into your bloodstream, and that's gonna generate a feeling in your body that you're not gonna enjoy, right? So what happens is there's a little bit of a delay with that because the blood has to rush through your body, but it will actually cause a feeling of like complete nausea, weakness. Basically, you'll see a lot of times the fighters will take this hit in a fight and it'll be a couple seconds delay and then they'll drop down into the fetal position. That's a liver shot knockout. So what happened with me? How did this happen? Well, this was, by the way, this was not the punch that sidelined my career. This was a different fight. This was before I had my health issue. What happened? Well, I was fighting this woman who was very experienced, as she had probably about 4 years of Muay Thai. Sorry, I will get that right. I apologize to everybody in that community. I am not doing that on purpose. She had about 4 years. So what we would probably call in most other systems, I don't think they have a belt system in a lot of those schools, but that would be equivalent of a black belt. And I wasn't guarding that spot. I wasn't guarding my liver. So I don't remember exactly how she set it up, but I mean, I can take a kick to the body pretty good. I took this kick, right? I mean, I just swallowed it. And I remember thinking, if you read your last video, I said, I was waiting for a live, boom. Here we go, Adrian and Nico. Talking about a sparring match where I got hit in the liver, brothers. So I took that shot, I ate it, right? And I thought, no big deal. I've taken leg kicks to the body many, many times. It stuns you, but you can usually keep fighting. I took it and immediately my thought was, oh, she got a good one in. Like I felt it. It was pain, like instant pain. You guys have taken one? Yeah, they hurt, man. Bend and stretch with Sue, it's good to see you. So I took the kick and I thought, oh, she got a good one in. That's gonna hurt. And then a few seconds later, it's like your body gets flooded with nausea and weakness. And like I thought, oh, I'm done, I'm in trouble. Like I was just tossing out jabs just to try to keep her off of me because I knew I couldn't take another shot. For all intents and purposes, if that was like an MMA match, it was a knockout. Like I was done. Because it was a sparring match, she probably had a little bit of mercy on me. So it gives new meaning to you. If those of you guys are out there who've never done martial arts and you said, oh, fighting a girl, yeah. Keep running your mouth and see what come do a few classes, see what it's like. Take a liver shot from one of them women and you won't be running your mouth anymore, I promise you. So anyways, so I took the shot and I feel the weakness. And I mean, all I can tell you is like, if you've ever taken a groin shot, the pain level, the threshold is equivalent to that. It feels different. Like to me, a groin shot feels very similar to like when you get hit in the nose or poked in the eye. It's like that kind of pain. This feels different. This is a delayed what you want to do, you want to basically curl up into a fetal ball and cry mama. That's how it feels. So I will tell you what, one time was enough for me. I would never want to take that hit again. Olivia, I don't know, I haven't talked to her in years. If you're ever watching this, you got a good one in on me, so kudos to you. And new meaning to the term fight like a girl, right? She kicked my butt, and it was, for all intents and purposes, it was a knockout. I've only ever been knocked out one other time. That was fighting a guy who was about 6-7 inches bigger than me, and he threw an overhand right that I didn't see coming, knocked me on the side of the head, and yeah, it rattled my brain inside my skull. And I remember the room spinning. Now, I didn't drop down to the floor, and actually in either of these cases I didn't drop down to the floor, but if it was an MMA fight, it would have been over. If it was a street fight, it would have been over. I mean, I was basically out of the fight for a few seconds, and I was just lucky that neither of these two people like came at me, because the fight was done. But yeah, don't sleep on that liver shot, y'all. If you like to do any kind of training and fighting and sparring, things like that, it's an area where a lot of people fail to protect it, and so it's open. And if you practice throwing those left hooks, those left uppercuts, if you've got the flexibility to throw a left roundhouse kick to that spot, you definitely can land some of those in there, and it will knock you out, son. I promise. All right. When you're fighting massive men, that's why they invented weapons. Yeah, great equalizer, absolutely. So anyways, we're out at the Ashley River today, guys. Just doing a little bit of live stream. If you, I'm probably gonna be on here for another 10 minutes or so. If anybody has any questions about that kind of stuff, I'll do my best to answer. I'm kind of, like I said, I'm kind of out of the game now for over a year. It's been a while. In fact, I just ran into a couple of friends that I was training with this past weekend. I was talking to them about it, and they're still doing it. It's just really hard to keep. If you want to get good at it, you have to train like 4 nights a week, and the classes are usually like an hour and a half. It can be expensive, no doubt, but a lot of schools will work out deals with students. So if you're, I could beat anyone. What was that? Never fought. Yeah, go watch Valentina. Yeah, go watch my girl Alexa Grasso. I love Alexa Grasso. She throw them hands and it is over. Go watch Ronda Rousey when she was in her peak. You know, people just love to run their mouth. They've never fought somebody with skill, because martial arts absolutely is an equalizer. Skill will overcome strength. Technique will overcome strength. Now, that's not to say that strength doesn't matter. Strength definitely matters. It's a nice advantage to have. Best foundation. So I was talking about that in the beginning before anybody jumped in. I think you need to train ground and stand up. I think you need to have, if I wasn't able to do ground training because I've got a spinal issue, but if you don't have any kind of health issues that prohibit that, you should train at least in jiu-jitsu or wrestling. Either one are good. And then you need a stand-up game too, right? So you need to be able to throw hands, you need to be able to throw kicks, you need to be able to learn how to slip, you need to learn how to not freak out when punches are coming in on your face. And if you haven't been in a lot of fights, your first instinct when somebody starts throwing punches at your face is to cover up, and you got to be able to throw back. So my trainer, so if you guys want to go check out a really good school, ROC Martial Arts in Kentucky, Sensei Finn was the one, that's who I trained with for my black belt. She is phenomenal. They're on Instagram. You can check them out on Instagram. I think they have a YouTube channel, but I don't know that she puts a ton of content out on there. And here, when I moved to South Carolina, I started training at Master Studios of Self-Defense, which is, they've got several schools. I trained with Master Phil. And again, my training's mostly in the Kempo styles. So I did Tracy Kempo for my black belt and Shaolin Kempo for my blue belt. My intention was to get 2 black belts, and unfortunately, health and life had some different ideas for me. So, but you know what? I took it really far. I took it further than most people would. I have some of the best memories of my life. I competed in the. You do need both, yeah. Actually, since we're on that, I really can't stand martial arts snobbery. I can't stand on so many of these YouTube channels when the comments are like, Taekwondo sucks, Kung Fu sucks, you're only Jiu-Jitsu is good. Like, you're really not being respectful to the culture of martial arts when you talk like that, because each system has pros and cons. Each system has something to teach the other. And if we would approach each other with some mutual respect, you know, and stop running mouths and start listening, you actually can learn some stuff from every system. So I always liked, when I was into it hardcore, I liked watching other systems videos and learning stuff, right? So a lot of times before sparring night, sorts and see who prevails. Yeah. So a lot of times before sparring nights, I would go on YouTube videos and try to like look at some of the other styles so that I go in with 2 new tricks, right? Because people, when you're training with the same partners, the game is always changing. Yeah, that's right. And you want to be always adapting too. So when you're training with the same partners all the time, what happens is you start to know, like, hey, this guy's got a really good overhand right. This woman's got a really good roundhouse kick. I liked to do, one of my favorite little tricks was a switch kick. If you've never seen what that is, basically you jump up with one side and it looks like you're off center, and then you torque your body into their body with the other one. But I liked to watch other styles so that when I went to sparring, I could bring a new trick, because people know, you start to know your game after they've fought you a couple times. They know what you're going to bring, and you got to always be changing it up. I had one of the guys that I used to train with. His name was Brendan. He used to throw them big overhand rights, and man, he could pound on you even with gear on. Like, you'd feel that boom, rattle your skull. And so that was one of his favorite hits, right? He'd throw that overhand right. And so I kept watching, well, how do I defend against an overhand right? And basically what I surprised him on a match, and I got him really good. Gave a cover up and rolled down with it, and then torqued back up, recoil. It's basically you recoil with it, torqued back up into his body, into the, down here you've got floating rib cage. What that is you got 2 ribs down there that are very, very sensitive. And I came up, I torqued into it, and he was like, oh man, you got me good. Thank you, Prepping for Life, I appreciate it. So, I don't know, my goal when I started the channel was I was gonna do a lot of this self-defense stuff. I was actually doing some street defense stuff and, like, you know, office defense stuff, like what would happen if somebody came into your office and got aggressive, or you just walk into your car. You know, stuff that people can learn in a couple classes, but my health really can't keep up with it right now. It's, I mean, I'll go into it more in another video, but I had a life-saving surgery a couple years ago. I had what's called diverticulitis. And if you don't know what that is, you can look it up, but I warn you, don't look at the pictures. It's nasty. It's basically like inflammation of the intestines. And I had a perforation in my intestines that started leaking out intestinal fluid into my body. And that was the most pain. I've had 2nd-degree burns. I've been beat down. I've had broken bones, all kinds of stuff like that. Yeah, and when I went to the hospital, they basically said if you hadn't come in, you would be dead. And you have to go into surgery right now. And the surgeon said people who have had natural childbirth and diverticulitis say that diverticulitis is by far worse. It is a pain that I can only tell you is like blinding pain. I've never really been, that I can remember, I've never really been like suicidal, but I can remember thinking, I can't live like this. If they can't make this pain stop, I can't go on. This is too much. It was out of a 10 out of a 10, it was a 12. It felt like, how do I describe it? So the diverticulitis itself, the part that perforated, that hurt. But what hurt worse for me was when the intestinal fluids were seeping through and basically your body starts to get septic, okay? And my body reacted to the sepsis, the septic, and my your diaphragm, which is like right here, which helps control your breathing, that started spasming. And so I couldn't catch my breath. It was like, and I couldn't get a full breath in. And it felt like, I mean, I've never been stabbed, but this is what I would imagine being stabbed felt like. It felt like somebody was taking a dagger and jabbing it into me. That like, I wouldn't have been able to do anything. I had to have, we didn't call an ambulance. My wife drove me, but man, it was, that was painful. I'll never forget it. And I've talked to other people who've survived it too, and they say the same thing. But anyways, after that, I did recover. It was a good surgery. The surgeon did an awesome job, and he was like, if you want to try to go back to your martial arts, you can. And I waited a while, and I started slow. I didn't do any contact for a while. You know, did some core strength and things like that before I finally went back into doing some light sparring. And then, but it was taking me a long time to recover in between classes. And then when I finally got back into the light sparring, and I got hit by it was a person with 3rd degree black belt, and they punched me right in that spot where I had the surgery, and I dropped. Hey, Unc, it's good to see you. So yeah, that's martial arts. I took it really far. I did really good with it. I'm proud of what I did. Years ago, I competed in the Kentucky State Championships with ROC Martial Arts, and for my belt level, I tied for gold, which would have qualified me. Yeah, it's a body blow knockout. It hurts. You ever get one, Unc? You ever get hit there? I tied for gold. That would have got me to the nationals, but I didn't go. That was probably my best competition. A couple other times I got silver. There were people in my class who were phenomenal, and I kind of wish some of them had stayed with it, because I think some of them had really good, like, not just the skill and the flexibility. Some people can get aerial. Like, there was a guy in my class who could, like, jump up, like, pretty much above my head. Some people can hold those kicks up straight up high and just looks real pretty. And they also were very, very charismatic, so they, you know, potentially could have done some on-screen stuff with it. You can't move. Yeah, you just cry mama. You know, you just, and by the way, when I took that liver shot, it was several hours later before I started to feel better. And I didn't, sorry, my allergies are kicking up. I didn't really know until later on when I thought about it. I'm like, why did that kick hurt me so bad? And then I was like, oh, she got me right in the liver, and it was perfectly placed kick. So I got to start rounding it up and start heading back. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Yeah, I was lucky. I did not pee blood. I did not pee blood. I was lucky, and I'm grateful for that too. Anyways, I hope everybody's having a good Tuesday. If anybody has any videos that you got coming out tonight or tomorrow you want to plug, go ahead and do so now. I've got, and please be sure to check out each other's channels. And if you haven't already done so, please hit that like button for me. If you enjoy my stories, I've got many, many more to come. I got a couple more good martial arts stories I can share, but I got a lot of funny stories, did you die kind of stories. Hey, Silver Sea Captain, thank you so much. Please check out everybody's channels. And tonight I've got a foraging video. If you enjoy those foraging videos, wilderness survival and finding the edibles, I got one of those coming. I usually film on the weekends. I did not, we had some chaos going on this weekend. I was helping my wife with her business, so I did not get to film. So I'm trying to get something done either tonight or tomorrow night to release Friday, and that will be about the SilverSqueeze. Over here. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you tuning in bed during COVID. All right. Hey, Plumber Stacker, I'm wrapping up. I appreciate you tuning in. If you want to catch the recap, I basically was talking about my martial arts career. Physiotherapist. Oh, that sounds awesome. Bend and Stretch with Sue. You all need to check out her channel. And most of these people are, it wasn't till just now I saw 8 Brilliant Minds. And most of these people are also on Instagram too, so if you're on Instagram, check each other out there too. But I got to head back to work, y'all. They'll start paging me soon enough, I'm sure. Keep planting your seeds. Keep stacking your silver. Good to see you too, Silverado. Watch out for those liver shots. Have a great Tuesday. I will talk to you again soon.